Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Hang on a second here. We'll get the screen share up and running. Oop, looks like I got a little error message. All right, so yesterday, a little bit of a roller coaster. The market finishing on a bullish note, and we pressed through 7,800. Actually, we started the day above 7,800. And you can see now we're actually threatening 7,900. Spent most of the day going sideways with a little bit of a rally going into the close to finish off the day on a pretty bullish note. But overall, it was a pretty slack sort of day. Taking a look at the Eagle now. You can see here's that rally that went into the close, but before that, yawn. The market just sideways. The overnight also a little bit bullish, opening with a bit of a bull gap. You don't see that often. And here we are now testing the overnight low and still kind of moving back and forth a little bit. We haven't had our first in-sync eagle signal. For those of you who like that trade, so the bands have moved now to a bearish fashion. We would be looking for a selling opportunity. That would be our first in-sync eagle signal. Oh, the Raptor already giving you your first in-sync signal. So you can be off and running with that. Oh, and some decent little follow through on that. You would have found your profit target on that quick little move lower. Look at that move. Don't tell me this is another one of these moves of the day right out of the open. Well, it's always so tempting to get those first signals, and there it is right there on the Raptor. Tremendous follow through off of the primary support zone. We've already moved our two zones, which is really our target for those types of moves. So here's zone 1 on the support and resistance suite, and there's zone 2. We came down, almost kissed it on the number. Now we're getting a little bit of a pullback. We'll see whether the buyers try to recover it from here, because remember, the market is bullish overall. All right, a pullback now to the hard edge. We didn't produce a number 2 signal here. I suppose because it was a little bit too drawn out. The Falcon did give us a quick little trend change signal. I'm still looking for things to settle in a little bit. All right, here now a number 3 signal with a second push opportunity. All right, maybe, do I dare? Getting a trend change signal on the Falcon as well. I'm almost a little bit more inclined to be bullish here, just because the big trend is up. And you know what? I think I'm going to hold off here for just a moment. It's still early. It's almost quarter to the hour, which of course is my least favorite time of the day to trade. trend, always the most difficult thing to decipher. All right, here we're coming back with a little bit more of a bullish push. So this number 3 signal, not really having the follow through yet. It's not to say the market won't head lower. The hawk here is a little bit of a mess though, as is the falcon. We're not going to print a number 2 signal because this is so drawn out from the low. However, the next signal to buy will actually be a number 2 signal. I suppose you could even frame this where you could short below this low, buy above this high, and just let the market bring you in either way. It's essentially a second push on this number 3 and a second push on a very big number 2 signal. In fact, why don't we do that? So I'll manually throw an order in to buy there and an order to sell down here. And I'll throw in my profit targets. It's funny I'm not printing a number 2 signal. Let's see, am I getting a signal? Yeah, I got a trend change signal here on the Falcon, so we could take it here off of the Falcon. Let's manage it from there. All right, so we've got the trend change signal now. The market kind of rejecting this trend change signal down here, giving us a test of the extreme, a retest of the low. We've breached the high, and now we're just looking for, well, we're looking for a move higher. It could well develop into a big move higher, get all the way back here to the median line. I'm not going to be too greedy about it though. We'll just take a look. All right, a little bit of an uptick. Come on. We've certainly hit our scalp target. There we go. Okay, we're close enough that I'm going to roll the trade to break even. We're 80%, 90% of the way to the profit target. Yay! Okay, and you can see good reason for taking profit on target. As we get a little bit of a pushback. You know, personally, I think taking profit on target is just easier on the nerves. And yes, it's disappointing to see a move like this, knowing that you probably got out somewhere around here and then to see the market go on without you. But you have to remember that the vast majority of the time, the market spends going back and forth. It's like once a week or a couple of times a month, we'll see those dramatic moves higher and lower. They get everybody all excited. Ron's asking, Eric, when you get a chance, how do you get 4 screens on one chart? Your resizing button here, Ron. So when you build a new chart, hold on, let me build a chart here. And so we can keep everything straight, I'll just make it like a 5-minute chart. What's going on here? Okay, bear with me, I'm coming. All right, so when you first build a chart, it probably looks something like this. All I do is I stick the chart up in the right hand corner. Oop, I gotta select the button that allows me to resize it. Oh, did I select the right one? There. Okay. And then I move my cursor to the corner of the chart, and then I simply resize it. Now, the first one is always a little bit tricky because you kind of have to eyeball what a quarter of your chart looks like. And then you'll build your next chart, and all I do is I compare the sizes. I overlay it a little bit, and I say, oh, okay, well, I need to adjust this one some. So I adjust it a little bit, and I just play with it until I think I have the sizing about right. And then you can grab them by the top bar and just move them around to where you want them to be. And then when something looks interesting, I hit the resize button. This expands the chart so I can see what I'm doing. And then when I'm done with it, if I restore it back down to size, it will find its home where I left it. So it's just a little bit of manual manipulation of the chart. Once you have everything the way you like it, it's a good idea to remember to save your workspace. And what I've done is I save 2 copies. So I always have a backup. If for whatever reason my main copy becomes corrupted, I always have a backup copy, so I don't need to rebuild everything. Just one of those things you learn the hard way. Ron asks, what sizing button? Okay, you've got your 3 buttons in the top right corner of your chart. You've got your minimize button, which makes your chart disappear into your footer, I forget what they call that, the toolbar at the bottom of your chart or your screen. You have your maximize button, and then you have your close button. So I want the maximize button. And then when I'm done with the chart, I click the restore button. That's the second one it's the one right beside the X. And that will shrink the chart back down to size. I don't know if it was NinjaTrader or Sierra Charts. One of these charting programs used to have a tiling option where you could just click on the charts in your footer. You could right click on it, and it gave you the option to tile your windows, and it would do that for you automatically. But now you need to do it manually. It doesn't take long. It'll take you like 10 minutes. What always amazed me was when people would send me their charts or screenshots of their charts is they would stack them like this. So they would have like a hawk, a falcon, an eagle. And that made no sense to me. How can you see what's going on if this is all the chart that you're looking at? How do you know what the market is doing? How do you know it's trending? How do you know it's not stuck sideways, or where it is relative to its recent history, or even longer history? So I've always been a fan of either putting my charts like this. You could stack them like this as well. You could do Hawk, Falcon, Eagle, Raptor. Or I kind of gotten used to the, come on, work with me. I've kind of gotten used to this format. All right, getting a little bit of a trend change again. We're flip-flopping here a little bit. Wow, things, it still surprises me at how slow everything is. That's not usually the case. Well, we're making a little bit of a rally up. I suppose we could have bracketed here again. We could have treated this as second push on the number one. This low here is a second push on the number two. Looking at the bigger picture, I don't know. Does this look like a bear flag to you? Big move down, a little bit of a pullback. Are we going to see a break to the short side? I would think maybe a little. And then at that point, the big question will be, well, will the market reverse and head back to the top end of the trading range, or is it going to challenge the bottom end of the trading range? So we may get a little hiccup like that. Oops. And then a retest of this bottom end. As I like to point out, however, though, if you're looking to make your trading objective, if your trading objective is to make $100 profit per contract per day, well, we've already hit that. Hooray for us. We're 1 for 1. Batting 1,000. Yeah, wow, look at that. There's a quick little follow through off that number 2 signal. You know, when you see, here's a little fun fact. This is why my trading friend always used to say, Eric, never trust a breakout. Whenever you see a breakout and a hesitation, normally valid breakouts have follow through, right? The market breaks, it continues higher, no problems. The fake break, well, that's the one that breaks out and all of a sudden all the momentum dries up and it goes the other way. When you see that happen, that's actually an opportunity to think about getting short. And you can see we produced a number 2 signal even before we violated this little swing low and a quick little move lower. That's what makes those counter trend trades look so appealing. Nice little scalp here on the hawk, coming just about the same time, so, coinciding here with the trend change signal on the falcon. That is in sync now with the number one signal here on the Raptor. I still don't have a handle on which way this market wants to go today. We've seen a very strong move lower. We saw a decent move higher, almost recapturing the move lower. All right, here we are now challenging the bottom end Ooh, wow. Okay, there's a bit of a surprise. You know, when you're looking for the market to give you something resembling a trend, very often you anticipate a bounce, right? Here's kind of the bottom end of the trading range. Here's the top end of the trading range. As the market slowed here, I was halfway expecting a little bit of a bounce up. We did not see that. Rather, we got a breakdown through, and if we can get a bar or two higher here, as we look for the market to possibly retest this breakout, that will actually give us an opportunity to frame up this trade quite nicely and maybe take advantage of a little breakout signal here. So the sellers coming back here very strong. I'm tempted just to hop on board on one of these secondary signals. We have one here in the Raptor, just your basic sell signal, not one of our high probability signals. Likewise here on the Falcon. Now when signals develop away from the trend line, they do have a tendency to pull back. But if the market is moving very quickly, maybe not. Ooh, oh darn. Wow, okay. The bottom just fell out. Paul's asking, do you have any insights on the new micro minis? So the big exchanges, the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, is going to be offering. They're going to be offering the micro E-mini futures, which will be a tenth of the size of the regular E-mini contract. They're not active yet. I think we've still got a couple of weeks. I think the big deal is going to be liquidity. The nice thing about the micros is that you will be, excuse me, you'll be able to maintain a huge stop because instead of $5 a tick, it's only going to be 50 cents a tick. With the S&P, we may actually have to look at the S&P because it's going to be $1.25 a tick. If you go to the CME Group website, it looks like you can register for a webinar on May the 2nd. And they'll explain everything to you. I may try to take that one in myself. You know, for this kind of information, it's always best to go straight to the source. I think what I would be looking for at this point is perhaps a retest of this breakout zone. This is a little bit risky, folks. I will be the first to admit this signal here, this buy signal, essentially a number 2 signal. I'm going to look to try to buy it on the first hesitation and or break of this price level right here. And see if the market does not retrace back to the hard edge. That would be up here. We're in the first hard edge already. I do believe the market has turned bearish. Like, there's no denying. Look at that move. That's just a monster move. We've moved 1, 2, 3 full zones. So what I would be looking for is perhaps a little bit of an uptick and then a resumption of the downtrend. All right, well, actually, I can do that manually also. So here's my just in case order, just in case the market decides to go lower before it goes higher. And then here now with my hesitation, here's my just in case order to buy. Okay, here comes the hard edge bounce signal now. And all right, well, here we go. I'll set my profit target. Did I get a couple of reverse bars? Oh no, I only got the one reverse bar here on the Eagle. Usually I like to see a couple of counter bars because it does tend to make it a little bit stronger. When you just get the single bar, sometimes you get this flip-flopping going on. We'll see, maybe the momentum will override that. Okay, I'm going to take the trade to break even now. Oh, don't even need to worry about it. Hooray! 2 for 2. So if I wasn't done before, I would be done now, I think. And, you know, does it bother me that I missed those big moves? Yeah, a little bit. I won't deny it. It's always fun if you can get in on a move like this. My goodness, it's like a week's worth of trading in one move. One thing with trading the micros because everything is smaller, you're probably going to have to extend your profit objectives considerably as well. Nobody's going to trade for our $100 moves that we usually look for. Nobody's going to trade for $10. They won't even cover your commissions. But if you take a longer term point of view, thanks for the update. Joe says prices at yesterday's midline. And Joe's been pretty observant about that, noting that very often the market will move to the prior median line and then give us a bounce. So we'll see if that happens here again today. It's always easier trading when the market is trending, though. Now a very strong move back toward the hard edge of our trading band. The quick move we saw lower here. So we saw this little bit of sideways jag. The quick move lower and now the quick move higher. This may be an exhaustion move. The sellers might be done. So I'm going to point this out to you, but I want to make clear, that I have met my trading quota. So you don't want to be chasing every signal around, but here's an opportunity. So we had a little bit of a breakdown. Right? We could put our just in case order to short down here. We can put our just in case order to buy up here. Because if we're retesting this little zone now, this little zone right here, and you can see the market's hesitating a little bit, so that's confirming that in fact this is a little bit of a trading zone. But if the market breaks out above here now, it will try to retest this 78.30 zone, which is where it broke out previously. I know it can all get a little bit confusing, but if you just think of it as the market testing and retesting after it breaks a support or resistance area, Here it's actually flinching before the resistance area, which is almost as good as an attempted breakout. Not quite, but close. And my profit objective would be up here. That would be a very ambitious move. Let's see. Okay, well, not so bad. Take us back here to the secondary support zone. You can see here on the Falcon, we already have the trend change signal coinciding with what we're looking at on the Eagle. All right, here we go. Got an early #1 signal on the Raptor. We've got the trend change signal on the Falcon. Actually here, the Hawk, very early in, we had the first micro macro cross, and now we're followed up with a macro pullback signal. All right, well, we are getting this market in a bit of a bind. As you can see, they're bouncing off of the top end of this little trading range. And we're going to test the bottom end. After which we might be able actually to tighten up our sell order. And this is developing into a second push opportunity off of this green bar sell. With this monster move lower, though, I almost would say that we have seen the move of the day off of this 78.60 zone all the way down here to 77.90. Might take quite a bit to spur the market lower. If I get one more bull bar here, I'm definitely going to roll my stop, my sell order down here. Okay. All right, so now we've got the market pinched. and we should see a breakout higher or lower. Folks, I'm going to have to shut the room down here shortly. I got to be in the big city by 9 o'clock, so I've got to hit the road here shortly. But hopefully this signal will engage before I have to shut things down. We'll give it a few more minutes. We're printing a rule of 3 here as well. Something happened to my trading band. What's going on here? No, a lot of back and forth. It's not unusual to see this sort of back and forth stuff after a very strong move. I would think a little bit of a pullback would be in order. Like I said, a retest of this breakout zone. After which the market is most likely to decline and probably settle somewhere here around, well, where they are now, actually. All right, let's see what we get. And we had a number 2 signal here on the Falcon. The first micro macro cross, the Hawk is always going to be one of the first to produce a signal. And then here on the Eagle, just your basic breakout retest type trade. Okay, if I can get another bull bar, because this is the Eagle and the bars are a little bit bigger, each bar is a little bit more money. I will start to get a little bit more aggressive with my stops. There we go. And I'm effectively just going to start rolling a couple of bars back. We're just about to kiss our swing target. There we go. Just hit the $100 mark. So don't be shy about taking that. There you go, $100. $100 sitting there on the sidewalk. Do you stop and pick it up? Yeah, I usually do. But this is the Eagle. We'll try a little harder. I'm going to squeeze it really hard here on the next uptick. Come on. You can do it. A reminder, tomorrow, Friday, is our Rabbit Hole Friday. So we'll be messing with your mind. All right, there we go. I've locked in my swing target as the market hesitates ever so slightly. All right, well, there we go. 3 for 3. Reasonably efficient type of market today, in that we didn't spend too much time zigzagging, unlike some of the other days. All right, gang, again, my apologies for cutting out here a little bit early, but I do need to get going. I will see you tomorrow. Have yourselves a great day. If you're going to continue trading today, look for a little bit of a pullback here to the secondary resistance zone, and then very likely another attempted move lower. Is the higher we get, the more pressure there will be on the sellers to try to recover the market. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.